Welcome everyone to the Campus Insider IPM at IIM Ranchi. So whatever you want to know about IPM at IIM Ranchi, this is the place for you. I am Sanika Mate, your host, your friend, your mentor for today, and I would be discussing about the program of IPM at IIM Ranchi with Tanay Gosar and Sanidhya Rana Day. Thank you so much, Tanay and Sanidhya, for joining the webinar and doing this particular session with us. Our parents and students who have joined are very, very keen to understand how the the academics are, how the curriculum is, and how exactly it works. Okay, so towards the end of this particular episode, I hope whoever is watching the episode and right now whoever joined with us is able to understand and get a clarity if this would be the perfect choice or would be a proper, perfect option for them if they have appeared for the IPMAT indoor. In case agar IPMAT indoor हुआ नहीं. Okay, so I want both of you to introduce yourself to our students and parents. Starting with you, Sanidhya, can you please introduce yourself?
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you so much, IMS, for having us here. It's genuinely an honor to be sitting here on the other side of the table because we were always one of the participants 2, 3 years ago, and it feels great to be here. So, I am Sanidhya. I am a second year student of the IPM program at IIM Ranchi. I just got done with my second year, so I'll be going to the third year starting in June. And I am really glad to be here and talking to you all, and I hope we are able to answer your questions today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sanidhya, and welcome again. Tanay, please, just take this one moment and introduce yourself because I have a lot of questions for both of you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having us here. I'm Tanay Gosar. I am also a third year student at IIM Ranchi, and Sanidhya and I are batchmates. So we are looking forward to have this session today.
Thank you so much, Tanay, for joining in, taking out time. And okay, so before I start, you guys have introduced yourself that you would be now moving to the third year of the IPM. So IPM, if people don't know, थोड़ी clarity बच्चों में नहीं है. So just give you a clarity. IPM as a program is 3 years of your foundations in BBA or BA. Different IIMs provide different first 3 years, and then the next 2 years goes as your MBA. Okay, now they would be going into the third year of their IPM, okay, which means the fourth year becomes a very gradual step of an MBA. Now, before we start with digging into the admissions, what I wanted to understand is a little bit about your profile. Because students here who have joined, they would definitely want to understand what kind of profile you have. So, starting with you, Sanidhya, ladies first. Okay, so what exactly your profile has been. So when I'm asking about your profile, I am referring to your 10th scores, your 12th scores. And if you have done any kind of, if there have been any kind of an achievements, in that particular run. At the same time, if you have been doing any kind of extracurricular activity, can you give a little snippet about that?
Yes, definitely, ma'am. So, Ranchi, IIM Ranchi stresses a lot on extracurriculars. So, even when we got the first stage call from IIM Ranchi after our IPMAT scores were out, we had to fill a form where there were like basic questions and an entire list of questions about our extracurriculars. So, we had to list down our 10 best extracurriculars, or not even if not 10, like the best achievements that students have apart from academics. So that is what IIM Ranchi really stresses on. And we have a lot of batchmates who are like national level sports players, state level musicians, and stuff like that. So in my case, I had consistent academics, I would say. So in 10th, I had a score of 98.6, and I was a student of ICSE board. And in 12th, I took the stream commerce. I was in Narsi Monji College of Commerce and Economics, and I had a score of 92%. So my 10th and 12th was both above 90, and 12th was from State Board, Maharashtra State Board. And then in extracurriculars in school, I was involved in debates and elocutions. So I was in the debate team of the school. I had gone for various elocutions and other sort of, speeches and stuff like that. I also used to do poetry, and I had won 2, 3 state level competitions with related to poetry. And next, I was always involved in a lot of sports. So I used to play for a club, uh, football, and I was in the school volleyball team, school rugby team, and yeah, basically it was like sports and a little bit of debates, elocution, mainly stuff related to that. And that is what we basically submitted to IIM Ranchi, and of course they shortlisted the profiles after that, and then we got the call. Also in 12th standard, because I was in junior college, I was involved in committees. So I was in the economics club, I was in the business and entrepreneurship cell of NM college. So I was also involved in the fest. So, things like that were there on my profile.
Okay. Tanay, would you be able to help us with your profile?
Yeah, sure.
Are you also a student above 90?
Yeah, so in my 10th grade, I had 94% in boards. I was good at academics through 10th to 12th. 12th, although I had 88%, but I think I made up for it in the interview. Throughout 10 to 12th, I was engaged in a lot of extracurricular activities. I learned two programming languages. I was my school basketball team captain. I qualified for zonal level basketball. I was engaged in, so I had done this, how do I put it? A social internship kind of thing, but not a social internship. Basically, I used to teach underprivileged kids how to read and write in English. And I'd also started this thing called the Dog Project, where we used to go and feed street dogs food. Although that stopped once I joined IIM Ranchi. But yeah, so what IIM Ranchi looks for is you have a very balanced profile, consistent academics, and it really comes down to your soft skills in the interview. And I'll be very honest, your interview is luck based. Like for me, IIM Rohtak interview was really, really, really bad because they asked me questions that I didn't have answers for. But with IIM Ranchi, I could direct the interview where I exactly wanted it to go. So what I would say is try to study for IPMAT consistently, get that 200 plus score, and try to keep some amount of extracurriculars that the panelists would appreciate. Don't try to fake anything because they'll catch on just like that. Like, they keep telling us stories of how the student came and they're like, oh, I did this, and they asked them two questions about that and they couldn't answer anything. So don't bluff, be honest. They're not trying to look for someone who's absolutely crazy with what they're doing. They're trying to look for someone who has a lot of potential.
Okay. So what I could understand, Sanidhya and Tanay, that even though 10th, 12th, okay, right now with IIM Ranchi, the profile is very important. The student profile is being looked at. Students, colleges do understand and do want to know what exactly student is into, right? What additional curricular activities, what they are taking, what skills they are developing, and how much interest they are showing in their own personality development. Okay. So students who have joined us and right now preparing possibly 25, 26, whenever you guys would be appearing, start developing. If you have time, this is the point for you all to understand that profile is important. If you look at both of their profiles and if you hear what Sanidhya said earlier, profile is something which is being looked at IIM Ranchi or Indore or any other university very closely. Okay, now let's talk about the admissions. Okay, uh, obviously both of you. So, in case students don't know, if you want to apply for IIM Ranchi, the entrance test for that particular course, IPM, with IIM Ranchi is IPMAT Indore. So, with IPMAT Indore scores, you would be able to apply in IIM Ranchi and with Indore as well. Okay, so what options both of you had? Tanay, starting with you. So, was IPMAT Indore? I am sure एक option तो नहीं होगा. What other colleges you applied for and how you kind of decided कि ठीक है IIM Ranchi final करते हैं. I'll apply there. I'll take a seat there.
So I had a very funny journey. It started with data science. I was like, okay, data science is upcoming. We should get into that. So I got into this college called Plaksha, where being a commerce student, they offered me a BTech in data science.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I got into BTech in data science, but by that time I got into IPM at IIM both Gaya. So I was like, okay, I'm interested in finance, and by that time I was already trading in the stock markets. So I was like, okay, I want to get into finance. So let's put data science aside. Let's go towards the direction of an IIM. Finally get an MBA and try and find us way into the corporate market. Anyway, so then I spent 1 month in IIM Bodh Gaya until I got my call from IIM Ranchi. And then the basic mentality was IIM Ranchi better than IIM Bodh Gaya. So we'll go towards that direction. Also, I'll just address the two questions that are there in the chat box. So, is there any kind of scholarship for EWS? So, there is no specific scholarship for EWS candidates, but once you've got into the course and you've passed your term exams, then they float a form for a merit comes mean scholarship. So, basically, they give you an opportunity to get a certain exemption of the fees based on your CGPA and your economic condition. So if you're an EWS candidate, of course, you're eligible for that automatically. And it is awarded only if you have a certain amount of grades, like only the top 2 or 3 students get the opportunity to get the MCM scholarship. And do you think IPM is value for money? Um, I would say yes. I would say yes because the kind of people I am around right now are super, super smart. So, one thing I'll let you know about life at an IIM is your peak of learning is peer learning. So, the most you will learn is from your peers. So, having that access, having such, a cosmopolitan crowd from all around India, I have learned so much in the past 2 years, I cannot put it in words right now. So, yes, definitely it's value for money. But if you are confident that, maybe I'll take some college in Mumbai University and I'll make the most out of the 3 years by, a startup or doing CA or something, even that is a very good way to go. So, it's subjective, but it's worth the money.
Absolutely. Now, if students are asking, IIM is worth the money? See, worth the money is something which is very subjective. It's an opportunity which you are getting. Now, how you are making gold out of that opportunity as an individual is something which is on your part. Okay. I know a lot of students who got the opportunity with Rohtak, IIM Rohtak. And if you see the episode we have done with Shahid Sukhdev students who are right now doing BBA, FIA with Shahid Sukhdev, I think they are in the third year. You would see so many students, or the panelists which were there, the students very clearly said that, ma'am, we left IIM Rohtak because we were looking at something different. So what they are doing right now, or currently what their situation is, the opportunity what they got, they actually made it gold. You would understand with their journey when they tell you. So you need to understand if you're getting an opportunity, you need to understand what exactly, like for Tane, his idea was data science. But eventually it took a turn. It moved to both Gaya, and from there he eventually landed in Ranchi. And eventually, when you guys are taking admission, keep one thing in mind, your peer group. If you are a student who is in 90s and the class which you are in, let's say that particular class students are in 60s, do you think those students will add value to your profile and to your IQ? That question is something what you will have to ask yourself. So look out for a college which is according to your profile, to the kind of students you would be looking at. If you are a 90 student, then definitely my suggestion is look out for top colleges. There is where you would learn the most. Okay. Now let's talk about the journey for Sanidhya. Coming back to the track here, Sanidhya, what exactly has been your story? What were the college targets for you, and how you boiled down ki theek hai, I am Ranchi final karte.
Okay, so for me, I decided to pursue IPMAT pretty late. Like my preparation was after my 12th boards. So it was like a 3 month prep at max. Because all throughout 11th and 12th, I was at crossroads. Oh, do I want to do CA? Do I want to do law? And I was not able to really zero in on any option. And because I was in NM, many people around me were doing CA. So that seemed like the way to go. Even my coaching classes were like, yeah, she should do that. So, I was very confused. But obviously, I took time to think about it, and I realized that I don't want to join the bandwagon. I want to do something which actually adds value to my life and which is something I would enjoy pursuing. And then the option of IPMAT was something which I thought would fit in very well with my interests. Like IPMAT, IPM, the IPM program gives you a wide variety of exposure. Firstly, there's the campus life. So, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You are not living with your parents anymore. You're not living in the city which you've been brought up in anymore. You have to step out of your comfort zone and force yourself to, make friends with people from different parts of the country. Secondly, obviously, there is a lot of pressure when you're joining a college which is at that level, because you don't want to fall out of the rat race. You're like, oh, am I enough or am I not doing enough? But I feel at IIM Ranchi, the environment has been so empowering. Like every student, as Tana mentioned, that the peak learning is peer learning. So everybody is so helpful and everybody actually inspires you to push yourself and do something more. So I think that has been the best part of IIM Ranchi. So basically, for me, the options were I was either going to go out of Mumbai for only three colleges: IIM Indore, IIM Rohtak, or IIM Ranchi. And I missed the Indore interview by one question in the essay of Quants, and I did not even make it to the IIM Rohtak interview. So basically, the IIM Ranchi interview was the only interview I gave. Oh, ma'am, you're back. So I missed the Indore interview cutoff by one question in the first section, and I did not even make it to the IIM Rohtak interview. So basically, my only interview was the IIM Ranchi interview. And I think by the time the IIM Ranchi interview happened, I was already very settled in NM and I was pretty happy here. So I did not put too much pressure on myself while appearing for that interview. And I think that's what worked for me. When you're putting too much pressure on yourself to, perform extraordinarily, especially in an interview, you tend to lose out because interview is a mind game. You have to be very tactical and very practical when you're dealing with an interview. Because if you panic, if you tend to, overthink it in the moment, it's like it's now or never, right? So I think being calm during the interview was what worked for me. And thankfully, it was like I converted the only call I got. So that was good. And after I got the IIM Ranchi offer letter, obviously it was a no-brainer because I wanted to do that. So I went for it. And as many people are asking, is it a value for money? Is it, is it worth it? I think it is genuinely a very subjective question. As ma'am mentioned, many people in Shahid Sukhdev would think that their choice is what works for them. And I think it is important that each of you figures out what is going to work out for you. If you don't think you have the let's say financial capability to invest so much in an undergrad, then it's absolutely all right. There are a lot of other options. DU is amazing. Even any other college in your state is pretty good, and it's like end of the day it's you who matters. So the college will help you get the head start, but obviously you have to make it big on your own. So even if you don't think that the investment is actually worth the returns, you can choose to go for another option and maximize it according to your potential.
Absolutely, would completely agree with you. A lot of questions are coming, so let's quickly ask the, kind of take the questions here. I am taking the questions which are right now as per the discussion, the point of topic, which is as per admissions. Okay, so I think it was for Tanay when Shreya mentioned. I think you both can answer. I'm sure the score would be different. So, how much score in IPMAT to get selected in IIM Ranchi? Uh, Shreya, the score changes every year. The cutoffs are for sectional and it changes every year. But if you want to know for Tanay and for Sanidhya, do you remember your scores, Sanidhya?
Yeah, mine was a 207.
Yours were 207. What about you, Tanay?
I don't exactly remember my score, but with my juniors, I remember they, for all the general students, they all were about 200. Everyone had were above the 200 mark. There were a few general students in the 180 to 200 range, but if you want to convert when you're in that range, your interview has to go exceptional. So there are students who got in a 180 and converted IIM Indore also, like in the 180s, not at 180, but they've converted IIM Indore also, considering they gave an amazing interview. So it's an opportunity for everyone, but I would say 200 plus is a safe score to have a chance, higher chance of converting.
Absolutely. So cutoff would change every year. I do have the cutoff here. I will try to just trying to locate it. I will mention it here so you guys would know what exactly yearly cutoff was. But you have to understand one thing. Every year students are preparing much more harder because this particular एग्जाम which exists पहले पता नहीं था इतनी information availability नहीं थी but now as it is kind of growing a lot of IIMs are proactively making sure that they have IPM as a course. It is kind of getting students are being aware of it, so the cutoff kind of increases. Just to give you a heads up, I'll just quickly update the information for you all while we discuss it further. Let's take the next question. We have a lot of questions. People are just kind of putting all the questions here. Okay. Can my 10% restrict me from registering for IPMAT? Jay, now when it comes to your 10 percentage is concerned, you have to understand every entrance exam has an eligibility. Okay. 10 percentage has nothing to do with your uh, appearing for IPMAT. Your percentage eventually is not counted when you appear for the entrance exam. Only there are certain colleges which would ask for an eligibility criteria that if you want to appear for a certain exam or if you want to apply for a certain exam, then you need to have 60% or 50% minimum. So on those cases, it will be let's say a eligibility criteria. But 10 standard would not really be a botheration at all. So don't worry about that. Okay, now let's talk about what kind of skill set and dedication do you need to excel in the academic part of the IPM? Do council exam results put an impact? Who would like to take up this particular question? Tanay, would you like to take this up? The question which has been asked by uh, Devansh.
I think Sanidhya would be a better candidate to reply this.
Sanidhya, what about you? Would you like to kind of answer this kind of question?
Okay, so the academic part of the IPM exam, so if you've already started studying, you know what is there, what is asked in the IPMAT exam. There are basically in IIM Indore's IPMAT Indore, there are three sections, but the first section is short answer quants, second section is MCQ quants, and third section is the verbal ability section. So IIM Indore doesn't test you on logical reasoning, which IIM Rohtak does. So in IPMAT Rohtak, you'll have three sections, one for quants, one for LR, and one for VA. So I think how to go about preparing for this, if you see the topics covered in the IPMAT exam, in the course content, are the topics that we've learned back in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. Like there is no calculus, there's no differentiation and integration, which we've learned in 11th, 12th. There is no complex level of, trigonometry when it comes to calculus. So if you go to see the content is something which has been taught to us right throughout our school years, but obviously the level of difficulty of the questions is raised pretty much. So the academic part of the IPM exam is something that you can tackle with only practice. being consistent with certain topics and being consistent with your preparation is something I would advise. Like for me, I prepared only for 3 months, but the 3 months I made sure I was consistent every single day, because there are times when you learn a topic and you think you know it, but 3 days later, if you revisit it, you realize, oh, I don't know how to tackle this question, I don't know how to solve this question. So it's very important to know a topic in and out and be able to deal with the nuances of every question that might come from a topic. And when it comes to quants, I mean, I am someone whose math is not strong. So I definitely prepared more for the quantitative ability section. Verbal ability is something I think you can, it's more of an intuitive skill, I feel, because if you're someone who likes to read, if you're someone who's consistently speaking in English, and you're comfortable with the language, it's obviously easier to tackle a section like verbal ability. And verbal ability is also something I would like to say that it has high returns, because even in IIM Indore's interview, if someone has a higher score in the verbal ability section, there are more chances of being called for the interview. So these are certain nitty-gritties which the colleges also consider. But obviously, if you are not able to tackle quants, then you won't even clear the sectionals, which happened to me. So despite having a higher score in the verbal ability section, I wasn't able to get through to that point because of a low score in the quant section. So I think if you're enrolling in any crash course or in any full-time course for IPMAT, my advice would be consistent with the academic part. Try solving all the questions that are given at the end of the course material. Keep revisiting it again and again. And I think mocks are the key to acing the actual exam. Even if you are not having a lot of time at hand to prepare for the actual exam, if you give mocks, you'll be able to understand how you are performing under pressure. To be able to solve a certain set of questions within that given time, to be able to solve, like when we're solving a topic, we are solving 20 questions of the same topic, right? But in an exam, obviously, it's not going to come in an order. There are going to be questions from various topics jumbled up, and you have to apply your let's say quantitative ability to solve something like ratio proportion, and simultaneously in the next question, time, speed, and distance. So that is something I think you have to train your mind to do, to be able to face any question with absolute urgency and as soon as possible. That is the approach you should take. Also, council exams. By council exams, I think Debansh meant uh ICSE, or I think board exams is what he meant. So again, as ma'am already mentioned, it only matters in the interview. While giving IPMAT, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that was it.
So just to add to that, Sanidhya, I was going through the information because a lot of students are asking about the cutoff. A lot of students are asking about the numbers. So I thought, because it was factual, I don't wanted to give you numbers because I was not able to remember at the top of my head. So I'll give you numbers now. So a lot of students who possibly might have a notepad or something, write it down. Okay. पहली चीज, a lot of students are asking about the cutoff. मैम कितने स्कोर पे IIM रांची मिलेगा, कितने स्कोर पे IIM इंदौर मिलेगा? So guys, understand one thing, this cutoff changes every year. So just students who eventually were able to crack IPMAT Indore, or think what we tracked, IPMAT Indore cutoff for each every, for last year, the QA, which is the quant short answer, it was 12. The cutoff was 12. For quant MCQ, the cutoff was 29. And for VA, the cutoff was 125. Okay. Now coming to the question part about 12th, कि मैम 10th के scores इतने हैं, 12th के scores इतने हैं. So let me tell you, with IIM Ranchi, if you wish to apply, you need to have at least 60%. So NC, OBC, and EWS students, 60%. That is the eligibility score. And for students who are SC, ST, and PWD, for them, the eligibility is 55%. This is the eligibility criteria. So all the questions right now in the Q&A box where the students are asking, ma'am, will this much be fine or that much be fine? Below 60, you would not be able to apply unless until you are from a category. So all that things definitely matters. Now we discussed a lot about the admissions, the interview aspect. Let's talk about the academics. Okay. After the first year with IIM Ranchi, how exactly it is different? Tanay, starting with you, would you be able to kind of give a little insight in how exactly the first year is in terms of academics, what exactly the subjects you learn, and how exactly the whole course works?
Yeah, sure. So for us, we had 5 subjects per term in our first year. We have 3 terms here. We have a trimester system. We had a lot of art subjects because IIM Ranchi really emphasized on holistic development. Although from our junior batch, there was a curriculum change. So for all of you who will be coming in the current year, there is a whole new curriculum with uh, around 6 to 7 subjects per term and 2 electives each term. And one great thing about the elective is that the students themselves select what they want to study in the electives. So you suggest the institute that we want to learn this subject, and you even so for our junior batch they even suggested the professors they would like to get for those electives. So there was an elective on media and branding, and they got in a LinkedIn influencer to take a whole course on media and branding. So there's a lot of autonomy given to the students as to what they want to learn and who they want to teach it to them. But this is specifically for the electives. I have like Samidhi and I have never gotten to experience this whole elective system. So what I can show you is the IIM Ranchi page. This is what your term one will look like: differential calculus, environmental sciences, soft skills, Indian literature. And so the first term is just has one elective, but in the coming terms, I will show you how it looks like. So a lot of creative subjects like psychology, arts appreciation, and we have a course on the sciences like physics and biologies. They're trying to touch upon everything they can in the first year. So as you know, Ranchi is in Jharkhand. Jharkhand is a state of tribal, so there's a course on tribes in India. There is one interesting term. Yeah, term 8. Term 8 is a completely elective driven term. So you select whatever you want to do in term 8. And yeah, this is what term 9 looks like. So you can visit this link and check out everything you want to know about IPM at IIM Ranchi. There's also a student exchange program and your Young Changemakers program. So if you want to help your profile, you can apply for Young Changemakers program at IIM Ranchi. It happens once every year, and it's something different. Like normally you will have months and all in your profile, but this is more of a social initiative where we take around 80 to 90 students to a remote village next to Ranchi, and we ask you to identify the problems and remove solutions to it. Although this is not the motto of this meeting, but I'm just putting it out there.
It is always nice to make sure people are available about these little things. It kind of makes a huge difference. So Tanay, thank you so much for highlighting it. Sanidya, now this particular question would be for you: how hectic is the life in IIM Ranchi? One thing is very clear before you put the answer. I think last month we had a session with IIM Jammu. Okay, or there was a professor who actually mentioned that life easy तो नहीं होगी. तो ये सोच के आना मत कि IIM जा रहे हैं तो you would be at ease. You are here to learn, and we will make sure that you learn the right way. Is it something which is applicable to IIM Ranchi as well?
Okay, so taking this question, I think for our batch, as Tanay mentioned, we had five subjects per term. So obviously, like if you compare it to the schedule of our juniors, they have 6 to 7 subjects, electives. So for them, it's way more hectic than it was for us. But I think what I would like to say as an answer to this question is that obviously the life is not going to be easy. Firstly, I think it's not just the academic part, it's the whole settling into a new place that takes a toll on you in the first 2 terms. You have to get used to the weather, you have to get used to the city, you have to get used to your peers. It takes time to form friendships, it takes time to actually get adjusted to the whole campus life. So I think the first 2 terms are about getting adjusted into the new environment. And I think at an IIM, the thing is with academics, it's like, I would like to say for our juniors, it has been hectic from day one. So maybe the initial few weeks, it took them time to actually catch up to the pressure, to catch up to the entire hectic ball game of an IIM. But I think over time you just get used to it, because the thing is there is no alternative, right? You have to manage your academics, you have to manage your extracurriculars. Obviously, there are a lot of students who choose to just focus on academics and not participate in any extracurriculars. But that is obviously subjective. But there are a lot of us who are in different committees. Like Tanay is a CR, so he's in the academic committee. And for him, I think it's been hectic from day one, because he has to address the batch concerns, be a bridge between us and the admin. And there are other committees like the infrastructure committee, the media and digital communications committee. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to explore. And uh, holding back just because of academics is not the ideal way. So academics are a part of your life at an IIM. They are not your life at an IIM, is what I would like to say. Because eventually you will get used to working 14 hours a day, in which 8 hours of classes, and then the other 6 hours you are utilizing for your personal projects, for your own passions, for your committee work, for socializing. So life is hectic, but I think once you get used to the grind, there is no turning back.
Fantastic. So if you get used to the grind, and it takes a good 2 years for, I think, for students, a year for the students to kind of get used to the grind, because every year will come with its own challenges. Now, something which, academics, it kind of comes it's a part and parcel of academics, is the clubs and the committees and the festival, which is the fun part of the campus life. Okay, so Tanay, considering you are the CR, of a certain club, I would like to know from you, what are the clubs, committees, what are the festivals, and you know, can you give a little insight on that?
Yeah, sure. So we have multiple conferences for submitting research papers. They are not exactly events, but it's very interesting because a lot of courses demands us to make research papers on certain topics. So for us, it is a fun activity to apply in those conferences and present our papers in front of PhDs. So that is a huge opportunity IPM brings to you, and then having that research paper in your CV, that presented a research paper in a certain conference. So that is a big deal. And coming to the fun events, we have Rush, that is a sports and cultural fest, and it is it is organized by IPM and MBA together. So it's it's a lot of fun organizing it, but I don't know how to explain. It's a little never mind. I'll just try to I'll try to give you an idea. So basically, IPM and MBA work together. There are certain verticals you work in: media branding cell, infrastructure committee. All of them, they come together to organize Rush, and everyone has their own verticals they work for. There are a lot of clubs and committees in IIM Ranchi, and um, participating in the clubs and committees is what will help you keep your sanity, because there is only a certain extent to which you can just focus on academics. That is for me personally. Some people, of course, prefer just academics. I was in ACADCOM. Sanidhya is in gender sensitization committee, and there is the infrastructure committee. There is the media branding cell. There is Then there are multiple clubs like Tramebas, Synopsis. What else, Anitya? Do you remember anything at the top of your head?
Yeah, we have student interest groups, and we have Dramebaz, as Tanay mentioned. Then we have, I think it's Rhythm, the music club. We have
High notes, high notes,
High Notes. Then we have Zeal, which is the dance club. So basically, you have opportunities to explore your interests. But obviously, it is your personal choice, and it's not necessary for you to join a club or committee to pursue your interests. Like we had a lot of seniors. I think you all must be knowing Bhavesh Shah. So he was not a part of any club or committee in IIM Ranchi, but he has done whatever he has on his own. Like he knows how to video edit, he has his YouTube channel, he has his own business, another startup. So I think the best part of IIM or an IPM program is the opportunity to explore your interests irrespective of being in the confines of a club or a committee. So you can choose to do whatever you want, but obviously a club or committee will give you that environment to pursue it in a structured format.
So if you'll see the IIM Ranchi website, it's made by Bhavesh, an IPM student at IIM Ranchi. So it is absolutely crazy that an IPM student made a website for an IIM. So this is just an example of what kind of crazy people you'll find when you come to an IIM. It's a lot of talent accumulated at one place, and there's so much to learn, so much to learn. My roommate, he edits videos. Now he has two editors working under him. He has people who shoot for him, and basically, he makes his own livelihood. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like there is a lot of opportunities out there which is not even connected to clubs and committees, and uh, not just the academics we have at IIM Ranchi. People have engaged themselves into learning new things also. Like Sanidhya, she's passed level 1 of ACCA. So
And Tanay
uh,
has cleared CFA level 1, I might add.
So, anyways, basically, people are exploring a lot of things once you're out there. And the thing is, you'll see your peers trying to explore something new continuously. So, that will be, an intrinsic push to yourself that, okay, what can I do next? I should do something. So, yeah, that's the idea of how my experience has been in the last 2 years. I've constantly been pushed by, my peers around me that, they're trying something new. So, even I should do something.
Very nice. So eventually, when we talk about your peer group, we are again coming and referring to the same thing, that with the cup clubs, committees, with the festivals, with the opportunities which IIM Ranchi is providing, it will definitely kind of push you to your limit, push you to learn more, push you to learn skills, and hence it becomes a very good place to study. So in case if you get an opportunity with an IIM Ranchi, it is definitely an opportunity to be grabbing with both the hands. Okay, why? Because brand matters when you do even your undergraduate with IIM. It matters. Your profile, your whole profile increases because you would be studying with a group like that who are people who want to grow, who are the people who want to learn, who have that zeal, who have that hunger. Okay. Now with the academics taking care, let's quickly take up questions, Sanidhya and Tanay. Uh, okay, now this is a question which is normally asked in almost all the sessions. I think it's a question which comes from, parents. Is it safe for girls, the campus? Because eventually, see, when when kids tend to go to a campus, mom, dad tend to worry. Okay, so ये question है, I think Sanidhya, you would be the one who would be presenting the gender. Do let the parents and students know that IIM Ranchi, is it safe for girls? And, how exactly the whole safety thing works with IIM Ranchi.
Okay, so I would like to say that our campus is very, very safe. Uh, there are also no restrictions on moving around in the campus, which shows how much IIM Ranchi is committed to the safety of its students. And it actually is genuinely a very safe place to be on. Like, you don't have to think twice about, oh, where I am going and who I am going with. Even there are times when I myself have walked alone from the academic block to my hostel at 3 or 4 a.m. during exams. And I never felt that hesitation or that fear that, oh, am I going to be unsafe? So the campus is very, very safe. And I don't want to promote my committee here, but yeah, obviously we have the gender sensitization committee. So in case there is any incident, there is a proper way of redressal of grievances. So, we are very committed to making sure the campus is a safe place to be in. If you're talking about the city, obviously, I mean, it depends on where you hail from. If, let's say, Tara and I both are from Mumbai, so we were used to a lot of freedom and, going out even at night before coming to college. But obviously, in a city like Ranchi, you don't have that kind of freedom. And we also have a campus in time of 9:30 p.m. So you can't step out after that. So I think that is also the institute's way of making sure the students are safe. And the city is pretty good to be in the evenings or in the day. I mean, there are things you can do. There is a mall. We have a certain place where the institute shuttle drops us, so we have a few places where you can go eat or just hang out with your friends. So that is a very relaxed sort of uh, environment. But obviously I wouldn't advise anyone to try and venture out alone in the city. We always go out in groups, but I think that is how we have been conditioned to be since day one. In campus, it doesn't matter whether you're alone, whether you're just with another friend, or whether you're in a group. So the campus is very safe, even for girls. And even parents, initially, when parents came to drop us, even they thought, oh, is it going to be a safe place? But within a day or two, even they realized that, oh, this is a very good place to be in. And we have a high amount of security guards. We have Nest Cafe, which is open at night. We have a restaurant which is open till 2 a.m. So there is a lot of activity on campus constantly. And the students and the culture on the campus is very nice. There is no ragging or there's no sort of bullying. So you don't have to feel unsafe at any point. Obviously, all of this that I said is specific to IIM Ranchi and Ranchi city. So I'm not aware of how it works on other campuses. But IIM Ranchi is a very, very safe place to be.
So the outcome, it's a safe place to be. Okay, IIMs have their tag, they have their brand. It's not only a brand which would, it's something which is trusted. Okay, now let's talk about something which a lot of students are asking. Okay, which is about 3 years. So a lot of students are asking, after 3 years, can they take an exit option? What kind of degree would they get? And can they join back without writing a CAT? So basically, we are talking about a sabbatical.
So there is an exit option after 3 years, of course. So you leave with a BBA degree. Currently, there is no option for a sabbatical at IIM Ranchi. There is an option for a sabbatical at IIM Indore, but that is also not an option. A lot of students over there also exercise from how much I have interacted with them, because they are
Absolutely.
supposed to give a certain reasoning to why they're taking the sabbatical. If you tell I am Indore, okay, I want a sabbatical for 1 year because I want to write CAT again and try to get into IIM Ahmedabad, they'll be like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you a sabbatical here. Exactly.
True.
But if you have a reason like, okay, I want to start my own startup and try to venture in somewhere, then they might approve it. So it is in Indore also, it's on an approval basis. In Ranchi, there is no provision just as of yet, but maybe after the program, 2 or 3 batches have passed out and it's a little more established, it will start.
So just to give you a little more heads up, uh, sabbatical as an option is only available with IPMAT Indore. But if anybody would have heard the live session which we did with Krish, a lot of you addressed him as Krish Bhaiya. He is the third year student in IPMAT Indore. He would be entering into the fourth year now. He did mention that even Indore now is not really entertaining sabbaticals without a proper reason. Okay, so sabbatical, option which is being provided to students not to appear for CAT, but CAT is something which a lot of IPM students start preparing from the second year itself, because you want to apply for the ABCs. People who don't know what is MBA में ABC किसको refer करते हैं. So A is the IIM Ahmedabad, B is for Bangalore, and C normally stands for Kolkata. But the ranking keeps changing. But A stands for Ahmedabad, and it has been always one of the best, IIMs you can target. So a lot of students from IPM who appeared, who kind of goes to Jammu, Bodh Gaya, Ranchi, Rohtak, or even for that matter, Indore, you want to excel. Okay, if you feel that you have the capability in you, there is no harm in trying, and a lot of students do try. You guys can do that, even if you appear for the IPM and get selected. There is one more question which a student is asking, that what is your point of view, guys entering into masters through IPMAT versus CAT? Uh, any of you would like to take up this particular question? Is it easier for entering an IIM through IPMAT or through CAT? What exactly has your opinion been, or what your point of view is?
I think it's a very different approach altogether. Obviously, when you're going for IPMAT, you are restricted to a certain number of colleges. Like there are only five IIMs right now that offer IPMAT, which is IIM Indore, Ranchi, Rohtak, Jammu, and Bodh Gaya. So in IPMAT, these are the only options you have. But obviously, you have that safety net that at the end of 3 years, I don't need to give CAT again if I want to continue in this same institute. So I think the safety net is a very big plus of the IPMAT. In CAT, obviously you have a variety of options, but again, that is accompanied with a lot more competition and a lot more candidates which are fighting for the same seat. So you have engineers from all over the country, you have people from different streams who are vying for those same roles in the same seats as you. So obviously, CAT, because it's at a higher level of in terms of quantity as well as in terms of intellect, it's tougher. But IPMAT is, according to me, one of the toughest competitive exams at the undergrad level in India. So obviously, it is something like I think it's not fair to compare both of these exams because you're giving this at an undergrad level, you're going to give that at a postgrad level. But the competition is going to be in terms of quality, I think, pretty much similar because those who are giving IPMAT have that same level of vision to, join an IIM right at the age of 18. And even the pool of candidates who are giving IPMAT are, people who are preparing for JE and other competitive exams. So there is a lot of competition even in IPMAT. But of course,
Absolutely.
CAT is completely different. So,
Okay. I'll just like to add something to that. Okay. When you're writing CAT, the difficulty level of CAT, let's say IPMAT is just a subset of CAT. थोड़ा सा easy है CAT से, पर CAT नहीं, right? IPMAT Indore crack करने के लिए, it's not an easy task. It will be a climb. Okay, it would definitely be a very steep climb. Now let's look at it. IPMAT Indore is written by, let's say, 25 to 23K students across India. When you are looking at MBA as a seat, the competition level increases because you would find MBA, students, people who have experience, practical experience, work experience would be applying for MBA. People who would be actually uh, done with their graduation, matlab the understanding, the IQ level, the understanding level, it would definitely be a lot better. In terms of chances, 5,500 seats for MBA across India with 21 IIMs, and the number of students who apply for it is 3.28 lakhs as per 2023 CAT. So you understand the chances of, or IT math for that matters, easier padega IT math is what I would say, considering the whole situation. Okay, it will definitely be a lot more easier. So, moral, I don't know if you guys have heard or if you guys have not really heard this, but when it comes to IPMAT Indore or IPMAT exams would definitely kind of give you a little bit more relaxed uh, entrance exam compared to CAT. So it will definitely be a option for you. And CAT you can definitely give. Even if you get selected in an IIM for your IPM, you always have the opportunity for applying for CAT. All right, a lot of students do that. Now let's talk about placements. Okay, IIM Ranchi, I think this would be the first batch before you. There is one batch which is now entering into the MBA zone. Am I right, Tanay?
Yes, yes, that's true.
Okay, so what exactly have you heard about placements for the IIM Ranchi? Uh, because you guys would eventually merge with the MBA students and would kind of sit for placements with them. So can you give a little bit insight about the placements with IIM Ranchi?
Yeah, so placements are very volatile depending on what domain you're selecting, like what stream of MBA you're selecting. So uh, the most like consistently the highest placements are in marketing, finance and consulting. They are somewhere at par with the placements. Both of these domains get pretty high packages, and then there are all the other fields that also they get decent placements. I think IIM Ranchi has been posting their placement report on LinkedIn and Instagram. So for whoever wants to see, percentage-wise data of the batch, you can always refer to IIM Ranchi's Instagram or LinkedIn, and you'll find all of the data.
Absolutely. So if you are looking at the IIM Ranchi information, you guys can go on the IIM Ranchi website. You would be able to get the information there. But just to give you a heads up, I will try to get the information right now for all of you. Uh, just to give you a little clarity, IIM Ranchi, as per 2023, the last package was drawn by average salary, which was drawn by an IIM Ranchi student, was 17.3 LPA. Okay. I am sharing their placement report for all of you who want to kind of go ahead and check. This is the placement report for all of you. This information would be, so now you have to understand IPM eventually fourth year se MBA ho jayega. So all these students who would be appearing, or if you join IIM Ranchi, you would be sitting for placements with the MBA students. This is exactly what the report which is published. Now, this is as per MBA. There will not be any bifurcation for IPM student or an MBA student, because it's the same course, MBA. Okay. Let's look at any further questions in case if we have missed any. Ravinath is asking, I am not IIMs. If not IIMs, can we actually rate the below colleges? See, uh, Ravinath, you are Raivat. I'm sorry, not Ravinath, it's Raivat. Raivat, you are putting NM, Nirma, IIFT, Symbiosis, and Christ. Now, NM, I am assuming NM is the NMIMS, what you're referring to. NMIMS, Symbiosis, and Christ. Either of them don't offer you IPM. It is a plain BBA, what you would get with them. Okay. IIFT and Nirma, both of them would offer you IPM. So if you're looking at Nirma, IIFT for IPM, both of the colleges are good. Nirma and IIFT, depending upon what exactly your preferences are. Ghar ke paas kya hai, what exactly your criteria is, you will have to start looking for that. Whether it comes to NM Symbiosis Christ, NMIMS Symbiosis Christ, it goes in that particular order. But again, the order would change depending upon what exactly you are looking at. It's very subjective. Every student requirement is different. A student would say, ma'am, I am not looking out for very strict college. Itna discipline nahi chahiye. I don't think I will survive there. Then Christ might not be for you. You might not be allowed to color your hair, have nail paints, have any sleeveless, or all those things. That might not be the place for you. It's very subjective. Okay, so that would be the answer. When we sit one on one, my plan, go for ahead, take a my plan with a mentor. They would be able to help you. It would be the right one for you. Okay. What type of questions are asked in the interview? Are the questions subject related or scenario based? Tanay, would you like to take up this particular question, please?
Yeah, so usually the interview starts with tell us something about yourself. So you should try and narrate a story about, how you have grown into the person you currently are. And, in that journey, what are your achievements, and, what have you done to get there? And when you state certain things that, okay, in the last 2 years, I learned this thing. Like, okay, I did a course on Python, let's say. So they will ask you, okay, now you said you've done Python. So tell us how would you code this? So whatever you are trying to state in the interview, make sure you have something to back it up. And with that first question, try to direct the interviewer to a point where you want to take them. So when I was giving my interview for IIM Ranchi, I wanted to try and tell them that I'm interested in finance. And please ask me questions towards the stock market. So when they asked me tell me something about yourself, I told them, okay, I invest in the stock markets, and I have been actively learning more and more about. So they asked me different questions on, tell us what are futures and options. Tell us how do you research about a stock that you want to invest in. So I gave my answers for these questions. So whatever you mentioned to them, they will try to cross question you based on that only. Whatever you've given in your essay and whatever you mentioned about yourself, they'll ask you on that. Keeping this aside, they expect you to have good knowledge about geography, like states and capitals, and you have to be well versed with current affairs. So the whole reason I didn't get into IIM Rohtak was because in the interview, so I sat for the interview with a little bit of overconfidence that I have good soft skills, I will crack it. But then they started, asking me a lot of current affair questions and general knowledge questions, and that got to me. Like I couldn't answer most of those questions. So, what I would suggest is you don't need to go crazy behind current affairs. You need to read 2 newspapers every day, 3 months before your interview. That should be more than enough. Economic Times and Times of India are your best friends for those 3 months. And yeah, general states and capitals, big incidents that have happened. Like during my interview, Russia-Ukraine war was, something very, very new. So, they asked me about that. Queen of England had died. So that is something I mentioned. Oh, the Queen of England died. So yeah, basically big incidents, current affairs, geography, and your interests. You should be very well versed with all of this. And Sanidhya, would you like to share your interview experience?
No, I think time is up. But to add on to Tanay's, whatever Tanay said, obviously your academics also you have to be well versed with, especially your 12th standard academics, because they will look at what stream you're coming from. So I was asked a lot of economic questions in my IIM Ranchi interview. So, if you are from the science stream or if you're from the commerce stream, you have to make sure that you are well versed with the concepts. And even if you are someone who had core math, I know a few of my friends who were asked to draw the graphs, or show how, okay, how is the x square graph looks like, how does the x cube graph look like. So these are very basic things, but they want to test your concepts, so they won't ask you detailed questions, but they want to make sure that you know whatever you've studied, and you're someone who's well aware of your surroundings as well.
Fantastic. So, students, when it comes to interview is concerned, interview can be stressful, but don't worry. We have mentors. When the interview calls are rolled out for 24, you would see how mentors would be sitting on your head, making sure that you are prepared, you are attending the special lectures, which will be aligned, and how you other mock PIs would the feedback would be given. So for 25, 26, the drill is pretty strict when it comes to when it comes to the PI prep is concerned. And with this, I think we are time up, and thank you so much again. We have taken as many questions as we can to make sure that you understand the perspective of IIM Ranchi. You all understand how exactly the academics, the admissions, the placement, and how the campus life works with IIM Ranchi. I hope this particular session was helpful. A quick raise of hand would kind of give me an understanding. Helpful, tha? Fantastic. Thank you so much. This is really motivating. With this, okay, we would call it a day, and we would kind of close the webinar here. I have to kind of stop here because मुझे पता है questions खत्म नहीं होते. We will keep on going on and on and on. Questions खत्म नहीं होंगे. But yes, in case if you have any questions, all of you can just connect me on Telegram. I would get the answers from Tanay and Sanidhya in case if there is something which we are not really able to find. Okay, so again, Tanay and Sanidhya, thank you so much for joining in today and giving us so much information about IIM Ranchi. It has really helped our students, and it will help them to possibly decide if that is the right option for them. Okay, and for all of you who are watching us, hope this particular session was helpful. Again, on the 26th, or possibly earlier than that, we will be coming up with St. Stephen students, and we will be talking about St. Stephen's program. We will be talking about the campus life, the admission process, the placements, and so on and so forth. So make sure once you get the opportunity, do register for that particular webinar as well. And with this, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. You all have a lovely day and all the best. Prepare well. Thank you, Sanidhya and Tanay.
Thank you. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. All the best, everybody.
I hope the session was helpful. With this, we shall take your leave. Thank you so much for joining in. All the best and prepare well. Bye bye.